So the question was, if people can even remember at this point, is how do I make PNGs? How do I make images instead of rectangles? Here's what I would suggest you do. First, consider adding, you wouldn't do it in the default, but you could put here something like cell image, just to remind yourself what the parameter name is, and uncell image. And notice that I use it just short IMG, but I could have spelled it out.
For select and unselect, right?
Right. And so what this will be, these are just reminders for me that if supplied, what I'm saying here is I want the user to use, I want the code to use the image file and not use a fill color. So then let's find the cell example, and I'll show you how to do this. So what you would do, you'd say if, let's see, if self cell image and else and, before I put any code in here, what this is doing is saying if cell image was supplied as an argument to the parameters. No, that's not correct. It's been a while since I looked at this. Okay, so at some point previous to this, any parameters that were passed in are copied right into the object. So if you specify a cell image, a path to a PNG file to this branch here. So I'm just going to paste the original code in. But instead of doing a new rect, I'll do a new image rect. And then I will take this bit right here and where the texture would go. So if you remember, the signature for this function is display group, X position, Y position. No, that's not right, is it? This is why I should, just a moment, let me bring up the docs.
Well, and that's okay. I mean, you don't have to, again, you don't have to write the code.
I don't want to write the code, but I want to lead them in the right direction.
Right.
Or he or she, I'm not sure.
But it seems like the overview is that you're going to modify that so that it accepts a parameter and then creates an image as opposed to a rectangle.
Right. So I'm using new image rect. It takes a group and a file name. And then it takes a width and a height. So where I was with that was you've specified a path. So I'll take this part here. I won't draw a rectangle. Instead, I'll do a new image rect. I will substitute in the path to that image and set the width. And then we would do self.x equals, that's already specified, so we didn't need to do it. And that would be it pretty much. So here we draw a rectangle if nothing is specified. Otherwise, we draw the image. And you would do a similar piece of code down here for the uncell, and you should be in good shape. So later when you call it, you just pass in an image path.
And doing that way maintains it maintains the way that you're accomplishing this as opposed to sort of maybe hard coding it in place. Is that correct? You're keeping it modular as opposed to just
right. This OOP code was designed to demonstrate how to take a base class and abstract a new version of the class from it. But in this case, you wouldn't necessarily want to abstract a new instance of the class that took images. It makes more sense to have an option in this case. So it becomes more, as you say, modular. You can choose to do a simple rectangle, or you can do an image.
So you're kind of just extending the class with additional functionality.
Right. It makes more sense in this case to put that functionality directly in the base class.
Now, hopefully that makes sense to sysads. If that doesn't make sense, then definitely go back and look at the hangout that we did on object-oriented programming. That might help shed some light on how the button class is structured, and look at what Ed just showed you, and hopefully that'll help you put together the solution that you're looking for. So the other question here was was geared, and Ed, thank you for that. The other question here was geared towards just being a new Corona developer. So he says, they say I'm a new programmer. I'm new to programming, and Corona certainly is my preferred engine so far. I just started following the tutorials, and it's the best I've ever seen. Well done, guys. Thank you for that. more accolades for the group here. My challenge as a beginner is what videos or materials to read to help with just the basic simple physics games like the maze game. As I don't know if you have any topics or plan to. So, you guys got any thoughts around that? I have a few suggestions, but
Actually, I responded to that. I wasn't sure what sysads meant by the maze game, unless we're referring to Zigzag.
I would think that would be Zigzag, yeah, that sort of thing. And I know. Well, did you have a follow up to that? What did you say in the?
I'll answer briefly the two questions that I recall in there. One, where do I go to get information? Yeah, certainly continue to watch Corona Geek, and you should definitely, anybody who's on the show, you should visit their site, Sergey, myself, etc. Brian and Barry, do you have any blog posts or anything about Corona? Oh, Barry, we lost Barry. Oh, he's
on mute.
got a slow connection.
Well, it's a good suggestion. Basically, what I would say is go check out burtonsmediagroup.com. Okay, because there's lots of books there, lots of resources, and Brian,
tutorials.
And tutorials. And Brian's resources, the way that he writes his books, they're all project-based, so you don't just get like one little snippet. You get things that build on each other. Whereas you can go to the docs.coronalabs.com, and you get the documentation on how one aspect of the SDK works, and it might have an example there and things like that. But it's a snippet all by itself, and it's not really part of a project. So Brian's resources help in that respect. University.coronalabs.com/university. I've said it a million times. I don't know why I can't remember. If you go there, there are a lot of intro videos that will walk you through the different concepts and things like that. And the physics engine is part of that series. And then there are sample apps. And a lot of people don't realize this, but there are sample apps that are in the download for Corona SDK. So there's one of the things that you can do is you can pop those open and you can just build those apps either in the simulator or put them on your device or whatever, and you can see how things run. We've done some videos where we do that for you so you can watch it without having to go through the build process. But really, I would say if you're new to Corona, go through all of the examples. But there's definitely a physics, Hello Physics, and some other physics examples that are in that catalog as well. So do those things, and then also just if you just go to Google and Google for things, you're going to find Ed's site. You're going to find RomanGamer.com. You're going to find SpiralCodeStudio.com. You're going to find BurtonsMediaGroup.com. You're going to find all these resources out there because there's lots of great people in the community who have written tutorials and stuff, shared their knowledge. So
don't forget to go to GitHub too.
Oh yeah, GitHub's a good place. There is actually a lot, and the other thing is my brain is gone. What's that big code place where you can go and search for things where people answer questions?
Oh, now you're doing it to me. I forgot.
Stack Overflow.
Stack Overflow. Yeah, that thing. There's actually a
brain today.
I know it. There's actually a big category there for Corona SDK and stuff like that, so you can go search Stack Overflow and get help there. People are great about responding there, and I know that Rob, who is in the forums as well, he monitors Stack Overflow and looks for people asking questions outside of the Corona website. So go check that there. So, all right. Well, there you go. I think that's a lot of good resources. Let's get into the we are 30 minutes into the show, and we haven't even got to this app development consulting conversation. I know we want to have that. So, what do you guys want to do? You want to have the app consulting thing, or you want to do the memory matching game thing? Which one? Ed's shaking his head.
App consulting.
Well, going with Ed's shake of the head, let's talk about consulting.
Okay, let's do the consulting because I think even if we push memory matching till next time. We'll have a good solid show. So, app consulting. There are reasons why you might want to do it. You might want to take on projects on the side, whether you have a day job or not. And everybody on the panel here has, at one time or another, provided consulting services, either actively or in the past, So we wanted to bring this question to people, to the group, and find out what kind of tips we could share. So Ed graciously brain dumped his thoughts, and we're going to kind of go off that list of questions. But if anybody has anything else that they want to throw in as we go along, feel free to build on the theme here. So we'll throw out the question, and anyone can kind of throw in. I'm sure, since Ed wrote the questions, he'll have thoughts initially. But yeah, let's just have a roundtable discussion. So.